Hello everyone, welcome back to Once Upon a Galaxy. Let's see who we have today. We have Elect Drake. Your treasure buffs are improved by +1/+1. We have King Midas. Your characters go straight from bronze to gold, but your heart is broken. Or Ganondorf. I've been really enjoying Ganondorf lately, but I had a pretty good Ganondorf run recently, so I think I will go for a King Midas and see how they are. Haven't played them in a while. I played some really good Electric games, some really good Ganondorf games. I don't think I've had a good King Midas game in a while. Let's take a look at our deck list and see what we have to work with. We have not a lot of really interesting ones that aren't already in the deck. I do think Raggedy Ann is really strong in a toy build, and we already have Brick Monsters, so that might be relevant, especially considering while they did fix Mop, it's still quite strong. So I might want to go into that. I think Raggedy Ann was one of the better picks for your Mop build. I don't see people do that much because it's not in the common pool, but it is pretty good. I think I'll get rid of Fiber. I don't super need that. And as much as I think Charlotte's interesting, I've never had them be super relevant. And it still says Ganondorf over here. It shouldn't. I don't know why it does that. That's funny. Genie of the Lamp is also super interesting, but I think not super relevant. The question is, am I going to ever use the Innkeeper? The Innkeeper +5/+5, and then when a character in front of me hunts, the buff gets improved, which is very cool. I don't know if I'm going to really do any hunting, though. So, yeah. The big benefit of King Midas is that gold characters, when you recruit them, give you a treasure. So, things that care about treasures are probably the best direction. But we don't really have a lot here. We've got a couple of dragons, and that is about it. I think this is probably fine. Daedalus I've never been super impressed with, and I think that there's something fun you can do with Moonshadow and Innkeeper, because Innkeeper is very strong, but they are, they just die if they ever have to attack. So giving them ranged from Moonshadow is pretty relevant. Let's go with this deck and see how it goes. First, I love to open with a Shmi. Always have, always will. Let's go with the Jealous Stepsisters. Not a huge fan of them if you don't have a puck to give them attack, but that's perfectly fine for round one. We got our Golden Jealous Stepsisters, so that already gives us a common treasure. What do we have? Gold Ring. Gold Ring is usually not that relevant, but in a King Midas game, probably pretty strong. Let's go for that. None of these are super exciting to me. I do like Laser Shark, so I'll go with them. They have some good homes. I'll put Shmi in the back. That seems fine to me. And now that our Jealous Stepsisters has golded, and we've got the benefit of the ring, they're already finishing their quest. Unfortunately, we did lose that, which is a real shame because we're already down a full heart. We're going to be getting a lot of treasures. Do I want the lucky chest? I think I don't. I think I'd rather go with the breadcrumbs here. Just give myself some consistency. Let us really find our duplicates as necessary. I think I'll actually go with the Captain Ahab here. Really decent with Shmi because they are a pirate. I'll put them back here, I think. And then maybe just a Katamari to sort of play into this pirate theme. Ooh, that's not great for us. That is a very healthy Santa Claus, which is really quite scary. But we did it. They're going to hit us down to 1, and then that is a finished Captain Ahab quest immediately. Beautiful, beautiful. So anytime you buff a slot, give it an additional +2. Pretty useful if you're going to that. Or my first character has Hunt, give my slot +4/+4. I think this card is really, really strong for compounding early game, so I'm going to take that. And then all we need, Beauty. Let's get that Katamari. I find Katamari usually does not scale well enough, but if they are going to be able to continue buffing their slot when they hunt, I think they probably are going to add up to a lot. Now we've got the Merlin's Pointing Hat as an option, which is very, very strong. However, Dwarven Cart is an option here. I usually find this one does not add up to enough. However, in a game like this, I think there's a very good chance we're going to find a ton of treasures. So they probably are going to pay out, and I would like to see if we can make that work. I think we just want to hammer home our Presence of Gaia, just like get a really good Katamari going here. Unfortunately, Laser Shark's not doing much, but we can actually move Captain Ahab to the front because they don't need to successfully hunt anymore. We still want them to hunt, but they don't need to finish their quest anymore, is what I mean to say. Very nice. I'm not a huge fan of any of these at the current moment, although, actually, I always think that Fairy Dragon looks strong, and I never give them a good chance. Here is a good chance. We already have 4 treasures. Looks pretty good to add up. Replace that. Beautiful. Yes. Do I want Achilles? Achilles is actually really good. I just don't usually use them. They just don't end up showing up that much. It is important to be buying things with Midas because you want to be getting those golds. So I think even if I don't buy one, I think even if I don't take one to my board, I think it's very important to be taking one instead of the spell. Achilles can be good. They're going to hit for quite a bit. They're not, however, a pirate, so we won't get the benefit of Shmi. I don't really need Captain Ahab. They're smaller. But Captain Ahab is not worth as much. I think I'm going to do it. How big is the Jealous Stepsisters? Yeah, I guess I might as well remove the Jealous Stepsisters. I'll put that over here. And let's go with that. See if we can still get a hunt at this point in the game. We can. Beautiful. That symmetry was scary. That's nice. Didn't even lose the Achilles. Not that it would matter because it's asynchronous and anything you do is not really relevant. Ooh, we are going very strong into a hunt build. Now, only this and this have hunt. Katamari used to because this was giving them a hunt, but not anymore. I am going to take the Sarmina, however. I love this one. It gives your characters a hunt ability, which is really useful for anything that keys off of that, or for growing things like 2-blind mice, who don't otherwise have the ability to grow themselves inherently. And because of our Fairy Dragon giving +4, they are going to get pretty decently sized. They're going to go immediately up to a 9/9, which is not nearly as good as we have here with our other people, but like Achilles is only a 9/7. Could be worth it. The question is, what do I replace it with? Is it the Captain Ahab? Is that what we do? I could see that. You know, it's not the best play, but I think it's the most interesting one. I'm going to take the 2-blind mice, and I'm going to move them over like this. And that should be good. Yes, you want the Katamari attacking, but they are pretty big, so they'll probably make it to attack anyway. Not like that, they don't. Alright. That is disappointing. We did get them to attack, but not enough to really do much. Which, you know, it's hard to do much against a shadow this early in the game. Jasmine. Ooh, we get that Innkeeper we talked about during the deck build. We do have a strong hunting board, but we'd have to replace our Fairy Dragon, which is not bad. Fairy Dragon is currently only giving +4/+4, and this is giving +5/+5, and then it grows if you ever manage to hunt, so that is beautiful. I think I will actually take the Huff and Puff to make it easier to hunt, so that we can grow our board. Okay, that one just died. It's not actually a hunt, but that's okay. It gave us a bonus stats to start, and yeah, Achilles just really, really strong. I didn't talk about Achilles. Whenever they hunt, all of your characters get +2. So that's going to make it easier for everything else too. Yeah, 2-blind mice is already sitting at 49. That's because this Innkeeper is giving +30 to them because they're doubling that buff. Again, it started at 5, but every time something in front of it hunts, which it's both of these did it, you got an additional +5. Very strong card. I don't think we have any slot buffs except for the first spot, which is adding up fast. If I think Achilles can reliably hunt, I could swap that over and get a huge 2-blind mice, but we shall see. I think I'm just going to start by taking the Lost in the Woods and see if we can get any duplicates. There's the 3-blind mice that we were hoping for. Yes, in fact, 2-blind mice becomes 3-blind mice when you golden them. Beautiful, beautiful. Tim's Cookies is about summons. Mask of Enrage is hunt characters, gives all your hunt characters bonuses. It is very strong if you can pull it off. And then there's Golden Fountain. When you find a treasure, keep 2. We are finding a lot of treasures. This will probably have more of a long-term payout, but ooh, Mask of Infinite Rage is kind of nuts, and I don't think I can pass up on it, so I will take that. Next, I don't think we have any slot buffs that are relevant for Boon Willow. Combustible Dragon is pretty decent if we think we want to swap out something like Katamari. I think for the time being, the best play is to simply bank the Brick Monster to hopefully get ourselves a treasure later with. Now, the question becomes, do we want to swap these? I don't think that's significant. I think the 80-80 is actually perfectly fine. Let's let Achilles try to hunt. Yeah, that's fine. That's awesome. Beautiful. Now, the fun thing about Innkeeper is that their bonus is getting increased, which means if they ever transform into something bigger, they'll move this buff over to any of its buffs. Now, you might transform into something that doesn't have buffs, making it kind of irrelevant. I'm just going to take Lost in the Woods here. But it's always something to keep in mind because it can be huge. Now, this is only a 30-28, so we could definitely cash out our Katamari if we think something else is better. And I think Spear Dragon is just absolutely incredible, so I will be taking that swap. However, I do love the Kraken. Achilles and Kraken follow a very similar role. You'll notice that it shows 45, but that's actually including the Innkeeper bonus. So actually a pretty comparable stats if you look at that. Kraken is +8/+8 to the front row, whereas Achilles is +2 to the whole board. So numbers wise, 8 to the front row is better because it's like 8 times 3 as opposed to 2 times 5. However, these stats from Achilles are permanently on the actual creature, whereas the Kraken stats are baked into the slot. That means if you change that one creature to another creature, if you replace the character, you lose those invested bonuses of Achilles. So the Kraken's probably the right play here. Unfortunately, it means you're not making your back row stronger, which could be really, really frustrating in the long term. I think it's worth it here because I just think that that's really relevant, especially like, we just saw with the Spirit Dragon. So now is the time to do it instead of later. And because of the slot buff that we've gotten from our Tiger's Paw, they're already hitting for 59. So there's a good chance they'll be able to actually hunt even though we're late in the game. Also, don't forget that purely because of our Massive Movement Rage, anytime one of our Hunt characters attacks, it's buffing everybody that has Hunt. Sarmina has finished their quest. Beautiful. What do we want? Dragon Dice. Recruiting a dragon gives you a common treasure. That could be really good. It combos with our Dwarven Cart. Spell Punch card is... it's fine. It's really good if you are rolling spells constantly. Now, we do have the Breadcrumbs. And so Breadcrumbs is... our first shop is Lost in the Woods, so we can always just do that, and then all we have to do is see one more spell to get our free shop. So that's pretty strong. And then treasure buffs give +2. This could be a lot. This one's going to be giving +5 to all of your hunting characters. This one's going to give +6 to the first slot. This one's going to give us +5 to all of our goldens. Could add up. I think Dragon Dice is going to add up to the best in the long run. Even though we're not really going for a dragon build, we can just recruit them directly to the bank, and that still counts. Next, we know that Captain Hook is pretty strong, but I don't know if they're really what we want from our specific situation here. However, Sarmina's kind of losing value. That said, the fact that Sarmina is giving the front characters Hunt, like 3 by Mice would not be nearly as strong as it is right now if it wasn't for Sarmina. And you might think +3/+3 is not a huge amount, but because the Innkeeper is seeing the 3 blind mice Hunt, it's filling in that gap. Right now, we only have one naturally Hunt character on our board at all. So it's like quite a big deal. I'm going to go with the Lost in the Woods for now. I really like Captain Hook, but they do require space, and I'm really happy with our board. So I'd really rather make our board stronger than anything else. Here we're seeing how, yes, in fact, that other option where it gave us the Spellbook Punch card, whatever it's called, would have actually been really nice here. We get an extra shot by just doing the Fires of Achilles, because I don't really want any of these, but I think I will just bank the Cheshire Cat for the time being and see where that goes. I'm really hoping to find a Moonshadow. It is a collectible card. That's what they call cards that don't start in the base pool. You have to choose them in your deck. And I think that one is quite a decent one. Ooh, okay, now we're talking. So, Bounty Contract, I just took the 3 bags full. That is a spell that just gives you a common treasure. And this one's Bounty Contract, which means we don't really need Sarmina anymore. The biggest thing Sarmina is doing for us is giving our front row characters a hunt ability. It doesn't actually matter that they have one or what the hunt does. We just care that they have one. So this will let us really replace our Sarmina, which is great. But as I was saying, I'd really like to replace Sarmina with a Moonshadow. It gives your your support characters ranged, which means my Innkeeper doesn't have to die and cause my front board to lose a bunch of stats when they move on to attacking. So far, we haven't had that problem because the game's ended before the back row has to attack. But it is a very, very powerful one to fill in that gap that we otherwise might have. I'm going to go with Lost in the Woods again because if you have it, you might as well use it. That's not true. Don't just use it because you have it. Use it because you don't want anything that's currently there. Mimic can get really big. I did a Mimic recently that got really huge. The thing about Mimic is that it sounds like, oh yeah, when you have a range, get a range. When you get a sneak. That makes sense. But Treasure Hoard actually stacks. So every time you get a character with Treasure Hoard, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. In fact, it's going to get a lot bigger, right? In this case, it would be getting, what, 7 bigger every time you recruit something with a Treasure Hoard? Pretty good. In this case, though, nothing's really exciting to me. I don't think I even really care about a rare treasure at this point in the game, but, well, it is a dragon, so we will get to trigger our dragon dice, because Mimic is every type. So let's do that. That gives us something. Ooh, look at that. Beautiful. Captain Cutlass, Ring of Valor. None of these are super exciting. I might as well just take the Captain Cutlass for now. They don't really do much, but it did trigger our Dwarven Cart, so that's lovely. Now, if we had Treasure Hoard, which I don't think we really do, we could get Encyclopedia Spelltanica, a great way of buffing up your Treasure Hoard value. But we do have Spirit Dragon, actually, so that could be kind of big. Unfortunately, I don't know how many spells I've cast this game, so it's a little bit hard. I wish this one had a tooltip for how much bonus that is. Prized Pig. Your mages are also animals. Your animals are also mages. I do have 2 animals, and just them being mages could be relevant. Spiked Shield is a pretty good pivot, but I think Spelltanica is just the best value at this point in the game. Again, this is a uncommon treasure. It is the 2nd level of treasure, so it's not that impressive. Ooh, we got our Innkeeper. Midas has done a lot of work for us early on, but it started slowing down. It's been a while since we've seen a duplicate card. But yes, we have our Innkeeper. Very, very good. That gives us a epic treasure, and this is basically the best treasure in the game. At each fight, you get a random treasure that your opponent has. And it's a copy, which means it can be the same. Normally when you discover a treasure, it can't be one you already have, but this will just give you a copy, and so it can keep stacking. The only other way to do that would be to use something like the Mimic, not the Mimic character, but the lesser Mimic treasure. It's confusing that they chose to do that, but that's fine. So we'll take that, but it looks like the game's going to end anyway, so we're not going to get any value out of it, unfortunately. But really solid game, just went off, was not any sort of issue. Yeah, just a really clean game. 3 Blind Mice really was a good call to go into. Sometimes you don't go into 3 Blind Mice in this late unless they already have shop buffs, because it's very obvious how impactful they are. But being able to take them and put them directly into the front slot that the Kraken was in was really useful. And being able to being able to reliably grow this through Sarmina, through the front slot that was already buffed with the Tiger's Paw. A lot of really good early game treasures that added up to making a lot of the pieces work together really well. I really like the Innkeeper Sarmina. I don't think I've ever realized how strong this combo is. It's very satisfying. And then Spirit Dragon, I didn't really talk about this much. It was a late game pick. I just think it's really solid, and it is very good. One of the things that was especially interesting about it that I hadn't really thought about is that the Innkeeper really liked not having to attack, right? Because the Spirit Dragon would attack and die and summon something, the summon was the next attacking creature, and so the Innkeeper was delayed attacking an extra turn. Obviously, you can go full summon builds, but I didn't really want to invest in summons. I wanted my stats to be on board. If I had a goodie bag, I'd probably be quite strong, actually. But it would have to replace something like 3 Blind Mice, and I don't know if that would be what we want. But 3 Blind Mice just gets so big. I think it's a really, really good pick for Midas, because triple is just so massive, right? Doubling the stat buffs is good, but if you can get to that triple easily through using Midas' ability, adds up a lot. Adds up a lot. Ooh! We have gotten Link for King Midas. That is fascinating.